going down, sit down. Oh, here's a row. Just pick a row. Oh, there's somebody there. We'll scooch down to the end of it. And so Leah was sitting there by herself. And most of the time, whenever we would talk to people at church, it would be like, "Oh, how you doing? You know, oh, fine," and that was it. And Leah was actually talkative, and we had conversations, and like, "Oh, this is cool." I'm like, and I don't remember any of the sermon. The whole time, like, okay, how do I ask for a number? And so you know, the sermon gets over where, you know, oh, you guys are dismissed, you know, yada yada yada. And so I'm like, and so I asked for a number, and apparently I didn't know this at the time, but you know, we'd been talking before, and you know, she kind of told me where her apartment was. I'm like, oh, I used to live there. I know exactly where that is. And she told me where she worked, and so she's driving home. And, crap, I gave this guy my number, and he knows where I live, and he knows where I work. And so I called her up that week on a Thursday to invite her to something. I can't remember what it was, but it was something. And I was very proud of myself because it was like a 7-minute conversation. And it's just like, no, I can't go. I'm like, that's okay. That's all right. That's fine. And so the next week it rolls around. So I think it's a Thursday again. I'm like, oh, hey, call her up. Hey, we're doing this thing. We're going dancing is what it was. We were going swing dancing. Mitchell was there.
Hey, I was there.
Yeah, Rissa. And so, so that one was like a 30-minute conversation. It was good. I know, right? So she's like, no, I can't go to that either. I'm like, that's okay. And then she changed her mind. She's like, hey, wait, some people changed some things around. It was her birthday that week.
She didn't change her mind.
Yeah.
We forced her to change the day of her birthday party.
Yes.
We didn't force her.
Yes.
We changed it for
So,
her.
thank you.
They changed it for me. So I had a screen. You're welcome, friend. So I went and picked her up. We went to dinner. It was just the two of us. We went to the dance thing, and you know, we danced some, but it wasn't just the two of us. So it was good mingling with other people and everything. And I drove her home. She's like, well, you can either ride with your roommate or you can ride with me, and then she chose to ride with me. So I'm like, good choice. And so we hung out for a few more weeks, and I'd asked her on a date. We're grading papers, and helping her grade papers, and yeah. And so I look over and I'm like, hey, do you have any raisins? She's like, no. Do you want some? And I'm like, no, it's fine. It's okay. How about a date? And she's like, what is she? Oh, a date. We don't have any dates here. So that we went back and forth, and so she agreed to go on a date with me. And our first date was at the park where we got engaged today. So,
Police at the door.
So that was our first date. About a month later, we became official. We were officially dating, and that was about 8 months ago. It'll be 8 months Sunday. And since then, it's just been a blast. Such a blessing. She's always been encouraging to me. We've always been on like the same page on everything. So, to me at least, this whole engagement thing has been a while coming. I've had to force myself not to look at engagement rings for a while now. So February hit, and I was like, okay, you can look at engagement rings, but you can't propose until March. That was my time frame for whatever reason I'm an idiot. So this whole engagement thing started a couple weeks ago. The looking for the ring and buying the ring and talking to the parents and all that. Collaborating with different friends and family to get everything set up. So the big day rolls around today, and I pick her up. I know she told me my little tells of when I'm going to say something important. I'm always real quiet beforehand. I always say so before, like, so apparently I do that. So I try not to do that today. It's very talkative on the way to the park.
He'll do things with his phone, as he normally won't.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, it's a little chilly outside, but it's great weather. Like, okay, cool. Like, thank you God. Like, that's what I was praying for. It was supposed to be cloudy, and it's not. Cool. So it's like we were walking down the end. Like, okay, we'll walk down to the end. And we'll turn around. I told her this. We'll turn around. You know, it's a little chilly. We'll get back in the car and then go to dinner or whatever. And like, you know, we're walking, and a week ago she'd asked me, it's like, well, what are the reasons? Like, what are your reasons for getting married? You know, I'm like, wrong timing. Like, I can't, like, we're not here yet. This is next week. Hold on, tell me. So I'm like, okay, well, like, I want to answer this question. You know, I just want to really think about it and get a good answer, and so that's how I pushed that one off. And so today, that's kind of how I prefaced everything. Like, okay, well, you know, I was thinking, you know, about that, and so, you know, we talked about that. I'm like, okay. Now that's the first part of it. Okay, now the second part. Crap, we're at my car. Let's go across the bridge real quick. We'll just walk around for a little bit more, and I think that kind of gave it away. I knew as soon as I got down on one knee that I was gonna just, you know, blow through everything I had to say. So I said most of what I needed to say beforehand, and it's like, so talking about marriage, and got down on one knee, and I don't remember what I said. I definitely said yes, so that's all I cared about. And
that's the part I remember.
I didn't have a ring out even yet. It was still in my pocket, and so, you know, I picked her up and everything, and I didn't come in empty-handed, and I pulled out the ring. And
I didn't even notice.
So, and that brings us to now. So, yeah.
Yay.
Did I miss something? No.
He didn't tell my side of the story whenever we met. So I never ever would go to the 7:15. I would always go to the 5 o'clock service. But my friend Janet, she needed, like, some emergency came up and some gift cards needed to be handed over, and she couldn't go. So she was like, Leah, you're the only one of the home group who hasn't gone yet. And I just wasn't going to go that day because I don't normally go to 7:15. It's so late. And I was like, well, okay, I'll go. So I took the gift cards and I sat by myself because I was like, I don't think I know anybody here. So I sat down, and then all of a sudden 2 guys come up, and I'm like, they're hilarious. So we were talking and laughing, and because we'd gotten there pretty early. It was at least 20 minutes before the sermon, just talking straight through. And so the sermon starts, and I'm like, how can I get to know him? I was like, Saw is friends with one of my friends, and so I was like, okay, I can say, hey, if you guys ever doing anything, you can contact Katie, and Katie can tell me. And so I was about to say that. I don't remember the sermon. I wasn't paying attention. And so I turned to tell him that, and he beat me to the punch and asked me for my number.
I said no romantic intentions.
No.
After you agreed to do
So yeah, I freaked out in the car, and so he texted me that night, and I was like, ah! It's like, I'm not gonna text him back. And so luckily he called me, because I don't know if I would have texted him.
Well, I texted her. It's like, hey, this is Greg. Like, just wanted to give you my number. And then I called her, and she's like, oh, hey, Greg. I'm like, oh, she put my number. Yeah.
I didn't think it, like, so in the middle of the proposal, he had started talking about it, about the marriage question, and then he stopped talking about it, and I was like, oh,
signs.
What's happening to me? And then he starts talking about the ducks and like off topic, and I was like, oh, okay, Leah, calm down. It's not happening today. Stop it. And then he came back and he was like, so back to the marriage thing. It's like, oh, it is happening. Okay. Don't remember any of it. Or what you said.
Me neither. Maybe somebody else heard. Brad, did you record it?
Did you hear it?
I couldn't hear a thing.
All right. This summer. Yeah. So the plan, that's the plan. We haven't talked about dates or anything yet. I'd like to be married before August, before school starts. So
Can
we'll
be
see.
done.
Yeah.
Can be done.
Yeah. 2.5 months. Not that quick.
Mexico.
So yeah, hey guys, thanks everybody for being here. Everybody that helped set all this up. I didn't do any of this. This is fantastic. Like Scott and Trey offered to just take control of it. I'm like, that's awesome. Thank you guys. So I just wanted to say, especially you and Trey, thanks so much for.
It's pretty much Leah's roommates.
Yeah.
Carissa
Yeah.
and Sarah and Ashley. So big thanks to all them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Thanks for everybody coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, we love you all. So, that's all I got.
Did you cry?
I did, yeah. I was trying not to cheer up.
I was just shaking.
Yeah, she just did this the whole time. She didn't move like at the same angle.
We have pictures with her face.
Yeah, 3 different times beforehand. So there was
I couldn't do anything else.
I had his back turned.
I was forcing myself to okay, slow down, breathe, just talk, and just get all the words out.
You know?
Saying all the words.
It was awesome.
Hey!
Yeah, when I was standing
Yeah, we have to look around at everything. So.
no romantic.
Yeah, no romantic.
There were.
There weren't at the time. You were just a really cool girl. That didn't take long to change. So. Thanks everybody for being here. This is awesome.